166th New Jersey Education Association convention here in Atlantic City. We are joined by Ed Richardson. It says here, past executive director of the NJEA. First of all, Ed, it's great to see you.
You too, Steve.
We've had countless conversations over the years. I disclose this every other time.
Always good ones.
But I'll disclose this as well. The NJEA has been a big supporter, a major underwriter of what we do, and a supporter of NJTV News, our colleagues and partners. That being said, what's it like for you to look back on your, how many years?
26.
Oh, boy. You look back and what sticks in your mind?
Just that the quality of our public schools in the state has been a constant, and the commitment of our members to the children of this state has been a constant. And so whatever issues have come up over the years, whether it's school funding, student assessment, family involvement, it's always within that context. It's always within that framework. And so, it's so gratifying to be able to step away from the organization at a time when New Jersey's been ranked #1 for the quality of our public schools in the country by Education Week. When we have a level of member engagement and member voice and empowerment within our organization that is virtually unprecedented, or at least in modern times. And that we are focusing on the power of the diversity of our students and our membership in the state.
Why does that matter so much, the last part?
New Jersey's public school students are now a majority children of color. And our educators, our education workforce is not nearly close to that. And so we believe that it's important that as we move forward that children of color see themselves more in their role models, but also that children who look like you and I see role models who don't look like them. And we are very focused on that as a mission at NJEA, and I'm very proud that that is a legacy that I know will continue after I leave.
It's interesting you said that, because this year, social justice, I don't want to say race relations, but in part it's about race. And Cornell West, Dr. Cornell West will be joining us in just a little bit for an in-depth conversation, a major keynote address, right?
Yeah.
No accident that you're heavily into these areas.
Absolutely. You look at the logo for our conference, and it talks about student success.
That's right.
Social justice and education justice.
Education justice.
So we have the #1 schools in the state. We can't honestly say that the quality of education is universal across the state of New Jersey. We also have, even though in the aggregate, the most diverse state, perhaps in the nation, very segregated public schools, very segregated communities. And if we're not helping our children to be comfortable working with people from all different backgrounds, that does not bode well for our society, because as adults, we all have to do that. We all should do that.
But is that the role of the NJEA?
It's the role of public education in one sense. And yes, and NJEA is a huge force for public education in New Jersey. It's no accident that the #1 public schools in the state exist in a state with what I believe is the most powerful education union
so you
in the
correlate
state.
the two.
Absolutely. And if you look across the country at the other high-performing states, they are all strong union states. Why? Because those organizations not only advocate for the people who pay us dues, we advocate for the institution of public education.
You know, Ed, one of the topics, Ed and I have had a lot of on-air and offline conversations about a range of issues, but let's put this out there. You've been with the organization 26 years. You've been involved in a lot of battles, challenges, difficult situations, different administrations out of the State House. Governor Murphy literally just walked by us before, and I know it's a big deal to have him here at the convention. You've had a good relationship with him.
Very good.
You did not have a particularly good relationship with the previous governor, Chris Christie. As a student of leadership, you and I have talked about this a lot, do you take anything away from those 8 years and say, you know what, this is a lesson about leadership, about life, negotiation, pick whatever you want to describe, that we learned from that experience? Because it was acrimonious, to say the best.
Yes.
Good, to say the least. I'm sorry.
And it's funny that you say that because, looking back on one of the things that I'm proud that we were able to bring forward is we just got approved as a provider for instruction for educators to earn a new teacher leader credential.
I heard about this.
The law that authorized that to take place was passed and signed by Governor Christie. So even in an environment where yes, we're certainly at times acrimonious
on certain issues,
relations,
pension issues, healthcare, so
right.
Go ahead.
You've always got to find where is the common ground, where can we do things where there will be support, because it's the right thing to do, because there's no way you can say that creating a credential for educators to help other educators is a bad thing.
Yeah, why would one be against it?
Exactly. So even in an environment where, no, we never had a good relationship with Governor Christie, I would say we didn't really even have a relationship, but in that environment, you do have to find where can you make progress, where can you find common ground, where could we build relationships within the Department of Education and the State Board of Education, which again we did during that time. So that's part of leadership, is finding wherever there is common ground, even if it's limited common ground.
Even if people can't see it on the surface. Let me ask you this real quick. I asked Marie Bliston, the president, about this, the standardized test situation. You can give me an update on that, your sense of it, because the NJEA has been very involved in the PARCC test. Is that going to exist any longer?
Eventually it won't. Right now, the assessment protocol that's been just recently adopted by the State Board of Education will dramatically kind of scale back the footprint of statewide standardized testing in the state. There is, on the other side of that, a federal requirement that has to be met, so that's been addressed.
With the National Department of Education?
Yes.
So it's the state and the feds?
It is, yeah. So so the federal requirements are that we administer a standardized test in the elementary grades 3 through 8 and at least once in high school. They do not mandate that those results be used for high-stakes outcomes in any way, either for students or educators. And a lot of research is pointing to the fact that that's a good thing, because let's face it, a student's life cannot be captured on a 40 or a 90-minute assessment. Yes, it's a good measure of kind of where they are. It's a good benchmarking tool. And that's how assessment should be used. It should be a powerful tool in the hands of educators.
Not the tool.
But not the tool.
Ed, listen, I know we'll continue to have conversations about education, about teachers, about students who matter most to them, but I've said this to you before, I'll say it again. Thank you to all the public school educators who have taught our children for so many years. They make a difference every day, and we thank you for joining us.
They sure do.
And having us here every year.
And it has been my pleasure for 26 years to work for them.
Thank you, Ed. Well done. We'll be right back right after this.